I was having y'all, but Rico from StreetScores, and there are reports from the Saints side that cornerback Marshon Lattimore trade talks are starting to warm up, and Washington is reportedly one of the teams interested. Is Super Bowl contenders trying to get him right now, and if anything, we can't let one of those other guys get him. Also, we got to talk about how the Cowboys are the worst run franchise in the NFL, at the very least the worst ran franchise in the NFCs. We're gonna dive into all that and more, but before we do, make sure you still farm that like button, still farm the subscription button, and still farm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned for all of the content. Of course, I'm your one-stop shop for everything Commander, so anything that's going on with this trade deadline, any injury updates, we'll start getting those tomorrow as in Wednesday. I got you covered, and of course I will be live streaming this upcoming game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, so make sure you definitely pull up for that one. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this video. Be on the lookout for the film sessions, especially for my channel members out there, the exclusive film sessions I'm gonna be getting to y'all. Let's get it. Adam. All right, so now first, I want to give some of my thoughts on any potential moves that the Commanders may make. Remember, the trade deadline is 4 p.m. I'm recording this right now at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Who knows what happens by the time this video gets out, but I do want to lay down some of my thoughts because I feel like I agree with JP Finley that there are really no wrong answers for Adam Peters today. I feel like, first of all, let's get it out the way that whatever these guys decide to do, they deserve the utmost benefit of the doubt. Every time we've even slightly questioned a move they made, we're waiting until the third round to get a left tackle for their second overall draft pick quarterback, franchise quarterback, and Jaden Daniels, or hiring Bobby Johnson, the offensive lines coach for the Giants. He had arguably the worst O-line last year. He comes here and our O-line is playing at an elite level. I mean, every step of the way. Even a lot of people question Cliff Kingsbury. Look at that now. Every step of the way, any questions or concerns we've had about any decisions that were made, hiring Dan Quinn, it's worked out and exceeded expectations for even people that like those moves. Like any moves that we've questioned, even for the people that love the moves, those moves have exceeded expectations even for those guys. Like, I love Jaden Daniels. I wanted Jaden Daniels going into the draft, but I never expected he would be this great ever, let alone this quickly. So I just feel like these guys deserve the ultimate benefit of the doubt no matter what. I feel like that's how we should treat this. Of course, it would be fun. It would be great if we made some trades, and I do definitely want to be buyers before this trade deadline hits, because I feel like tomorrow is never promised. You never know about next year. I know we're building towards the future, but you literally never know. So I say you go ahead and don't pull a Rams like they did a few years ago, all eggs in one basket, and then now you're terrible for the future. I'm not saying mortgage the future, but at the same time, you just never know what can happen next year. So at least try to go for a Super Bowl this year. You don't necessarily have to mortgage the future to do so. I feel like there's a way to balance it perfectly to where you make yourself better now and also make yourself better in the future. There's definitely some available moves out there. I've already talked about that in several videos, and we're going to get into some of those in this video as well. But again, going back to JP Finley, I also agree with the fact that there's no wrong answer for Adam Peters today. If he stays the course with the team already built, that's a fair stance. Yet if the organization desires to press the gas and buy, that makes sense too, because nothing is guaranteed in the NFL. I agree with my boy Eric Sully over there at Commander's Realm. He said, really hoping a move is made today by Adam Peters. It's a year-to-year league, and there's no guarantee that you're tied for the best record in the conference next season. I completely agree. You can make a move and still think long-term at the same time. You can start by using a third rounder that Philly gave us that is technically from the Dolphins for free, because we just basically gave away Jahan Dotson for a third rounder. Technically, we got that third rounder for free because Jahan Dotson ain't doing not a thing for them Eagles right now. That was one of the worst trades ever. Eagles fans are still mad at Howie Roseman for that one. Actually, they get more and more upset every week that passes. They reminisce on why did we even do that. But remember, that third round pick is from the Dolphins, and even though Tua's back and they're trying to win, they just most recently lost to the Cardinals and then lost again to the Bills. So that third round pick that we have from them is getting higher and higher and higher in the draft order, which means it's probably more valuable as far as us looking to potentially trade for somebody before this trade deadline. Also, I agree with Jordan at Washington today when he said you can definitely add a piece today without mortgaging the future. Ideally, the player you trade for can contribute for multiple years and not just a playoff run this season. I agree. There are guys like that. Guys like Marshon Lattimore. We're going to talk about him very soon. You're trading a third or a fourth for multiple years of elite play. We have so much cap space to play with. I completely agree. Now, I'm not sure if we can get him for a third round pick, but hey, man, whatever it takes, go get Marshon Lattimore. In my personal opinion, that's just me. He also says you're not mortgaging the future when you're not likely to draft a Marshon Lattimore caliber player in round 3 anyway. I completely agree. Even round 2, if you're willing to give up a second round pick, what's the likelihood that you're going to draft Marshon Lattimore, one of the best corners in the NFL, with that second round pick? So I say you go ahead and do it. I know he's already getting up there relatively in age, but I would just go ahead and do it. And then also, shouts out to Jordan. He pointed out the fact that the Chiefs got better, the Lions got better because the Chiefs traded for D-Hop, the Lions traded for Zadarius Smith, the Cardinals got better, they traded for a pass rusher, the Cowboys, we're going to talk about them in the second half of this video. He said Cowboys LOL. Bills got better, Ravens got better. Remember, they traded for Deontay Johnson. Will the Commanders make a move to get better today? That's the big question right now. Shouts out to Bobby Gold at Smith for GM. He said Washington needs to be configured to beat Detroit. I've been saying this for days now, little over a week now, that we need to base our plans on not only beating the NFC East specifically, because we still have 4 games coming up, 2 each for the Eagles and Cowboys, even though the Cowboys aren't much of a worry anymore, well, just in general, but especially with Dak Prescott hurt. We're going to also talk about that later, but we need to be built to beat your division. Those are 6 games a year that you got to do. So every year you're supposed to be built to beat your division. But now that we're looking at actual real success for this team, you need to start scouting the best teams in your conference especially. And we need to be built to beat the Lions. We need to be built to beat the Vikings. We need to be built to beat all of these great NFC teams right now. Even the 49ers when they're healthy. The Rams are trying to make a comeback right now. They're a very talented roster that just got off to a bad start to start the season. We need to make sure we definitely have that in the back of our minds before this trade deadline. Like if we end up going against the Lions in the playoffs at some point, maybe NFC conference game, do we have the corners? Do we have the edge rushers to stick with those guys? Are we ready for that? So please keep that in mind. And of course, also remember, we brought over Lance Newmark and Brandon Sosna from the Lions. So if anybody knows the Lions organization inside and out, it's their former assistant GM and Brandon Sosna, who was like their top executive that was doing all of their cap space stuff, all of their contracts, all of the contract finesses, like when it comes to the void years and things like that. That's why I was so excited about us stealing him from the Lions, because like now we have that on our side. But my point is right now is that if anybody knows the Lions organization top to bottom, inside and out, it's those 2 guys. So we have the intel. We know, I mean, just similar to how the Timberwolves GM built the Nuggets and then went over to the Timberwolves and literally built them to be able to beat the Nuggets. And that's something similar to Lance Newmark and Brandon Sosna can do for the Washington Commanders. But it's up to us to make those moves. Now, moving on to Marshon Lattimore, I apologize. Took me a little bit longer to get through those thoughts than I thought. I didn't want to clickbait y'all. We are talking about Marshon Lattimore in this video. And then Josina Anderson tweeted and reported at 10:30 a.m., just a little over an hour ago now that I'm recording this, I'm told the trade talks for Saints cornerback Marshon Lattimore are, quote, warming up, unquote, and that, quote, multiple people are involved, unquote, per source. And then NFL rumors, and I mean, who knows how trustworthy this report actually is, but they said that the Lions, Commanders, and Chiefs are reportedly pursuing Saints cornerback Marshon Lattimore. Those are 2 Super Bowl contenders definitively, and I would even throw us in the Super Bowl contender category. We're the 2nd seed in the NFC. Why wouldn't we be? So that's 3 Super Bowl contenders trying to trade for one of the best corners in the NFL competing against each other. I say we make it happen. I absolutely say you find a way to make it happen. It makes too much sense in so many different ways. I've already explained this in previous videos, but Marshon Lattimore is literally the perfect puzzle piece fix that we're missing right now in this defense. Now, of course, I'm definitely in the group of people that feels like edge rusher improvement would help our coverage ability even more than an additional corner actually would. I feel like trading for like a top edge rusher would be a far bigger help in improving our lack of coverage skills right now in that secondary. But adding a Marshon Lattimore would allow Joe Wood Jr. to do everything he wants to do. He wants to run an aggressive man coverage defense where he blitzes a lot with the safety. Name the last time you've noticed Quan Martin and Jeremy Chin blitz. We were seeing it in the preseason. We were seeing it all through the offseason. But then we got to the regular season, and every time we tried it, we get burnt. So we just can't even do it. We have to spend a lot of the reason we can't stop the run is because we have to take people out of the box to help in coverage. Now imagine if we have a Marshon Lattimore that takes away the best receiver of every team that we have to go against. Remember, we play the Steelers this week. If Marshon Lattimore, we trade for him, he can take away George Pickens, or he can come, and then the Eagles game after that, he can take away Devonta Smith or A.J. Brown. Cowboys game, they're not a threat, but if he can take away CeeDee Lamb, who's banged up. Titans, same thing with the Saints. His former team, that would be fantastic to watch. The Falcons, Drake London or Kyle Pitts or something like that. Just imagine if Marshon Lattimore takes away the best receiver of the other team. You know how much easier it will be for Joe Wood Jr. to run the defense that he wants to run. Very aggressive, blitzing the quarterback, blitzing linebackers, safeties, corners, everything, because you know Marshon Lattimore can handle that guy, and then the other guys just figure it out, and then we can send everybody else at the quarterback to hurry up their clock and make them get rid of the ball sooner, which can lead to the turnovers, which is what Joe Wood Jr. and Dan Quinn were able to create at a really high level for the Cowboys. Remember, they led the league in turnover creation from a defense for the last 3 years. They haven't been able to do that here, and it's not because of a lack of scheme, it's because of lack of talent. Marshon Lattimore would be a huge boost there. But at first, it didn't really seem likely that we may actually go and get Marshon Lattimore. But then this past weekend, they went ahead and lost to the Panthers. And they went ahead and fired their head coach. So they probably went from, we'll think about being buyers or sellers, maybe we'll just chill, to just full on panic, blow the whole thing up, seller mode. We need to get whatever draft picks we can. Again, I've told y'all this in several videos and even live streams that the Saints are in cap purgatory. As of right now, they are negative $75 million in cap space. Moving forward, and going into 2025, next year, after this season ends, they are negative $75 million in cap space. They've already given Alvin Kamara an extension, so they're showing who they're prioritizing. They prioritize Alvin Kamara, and I guess they're treating everybody else out like, we'll figure that out. We'll just get to you later. We'll see what we can do. Why not go ahead and trade Marshon Lattimore for any draft picks that you can get before he walks for free later on, eventually anyway, in a couple of years. And right now, you're not in a winning window right now, and so by the time you start winning, Marshon Lattimore is only getting older. He's only going to get more expensive. Why not go ahead and trade for draft picks right now? And again, when you're in cap purgatory, the only way you can improve your team is through the draft, so get more draft picks to do so. Now, shouts out to NFL Trade Rumors. They did a good job breaking this down. They said as of this morning, things have been getting a little quiet around Lattimore and the Saints, who are working through the fallout of firing head coach Dennis Allen yesterday. The Chiefs had inquired with New Orleans about Lattimore, but as of this morning, that deal was viewed as unlikely. Thank goodness. It's possible the situation has changed as things can move quickly today. Lattimore, 28 years old, former first-round pick of the Saints back in 2017 out of Ohio State. He was entering the final year of his 4-year, $15.35 million contract, set to make a base salary of $1.53 million for the 2020 season when the Saints exercised his fifth-year option. Then he was set to make $10.244 million under his fifth-year option in 2021. He was set to be an unrestricted free agent in 2022 when he agreed to a 5-year, $97.6 million extension worth up to $100 million with the Saints, and that's the current contract that he's on right now. He's due $15 million in compensation in 2024, $18 million and $18.5 million in the next 2 years, the final 2 years of his contract. In 2024, Lattimore has appeared in only 7 games, though. He's been a little hurt. He didn't even play in that Panthers game this past weekend for the Saints and recorded 30 tackles, 2 passes defense, but no interceptions. I don't care. Still trade for that man right now, please. I'll go pick him up myself. Y'all already know I'm down here in Atlanta, man. It ain't nothing to go ahead and make that quick little 8-10 hour drive to New Orleans, man. I gotta do what I gotta do to get that, man. If it takes it, if Adam Peters says we'll only trade for him if you go drive down there and get him yourself, best believe I'm getting the keys right now. I won't even finish editing this video. We'll go ahead and make that move now. I'll talk about it later. But now, moving on from Marshon Lattimore, Jeremy Fowler also tweeted and reported that the Titans have received multiple inquiries on defensive line players, including Arden Key and Sebastian Joseph Day, per sources. Nothing has materialized as of this morning, but could be one to watch if a team steps up with a strong offer. Only reason I'm bringing that up is because we have injuries to our defensive line. Interior defensive line wise, which is why Sebastian Joseph Day, maybe that makes a little bit of sense. Jonathan Allen is out for season. Maybe they want to replace him with that just to give a little help to Johnny Newton and Deron Payne as far as the rotation for Darian Mathis as well. We're 3 deep at defensive tackle. I love all of our 3 defensive tackles that we do have available, but I mean, how could it hurt to go 4 deep? It just depends on what trade compensation the Titans are expecting. I would not give up anything 4th round or higher for that type of guy. Maybe the Titans are looking for something more than what I'm willing to give up, so maybe we don't match there. Maybe we can move on. But Arden Key is interesting. I remember I did a video off of the reports that Harold Landry was apparently available a couple of weeks ago. I would prefer Harold Landry to trade for him as an edge rusher over Arden Key, but maybe we want to bring in Arden Key to help with the edge rusher rotation as well, because Dante Fowler's balling out, Dorrance Armstrong starting to ball out, Clelin Ferrell's getting a little healthier, and then eventually we'll get Javonte Jean-Baptiste at some point this year. But how would it hurt to add another great, consistent pass rusher, double-digit sack guy in Harold Landry, multiple double-digit year sack guy in him, especially for cheap, maybe like a 4th or a 3rd round pick. We'll see. Now moving on to the second half of this video, it is time to rejoice as a Commanders fan and laugh at the Cowboys, because earlier this morning at 9:43 a.m. Jerry Jones hinted that they will be adding a wide receiver today before the trade deadline, and he also mentioned that it was a player that they've admired since his college days. So we're all thinking like, uh-oh, Cowboys about to go and get themselves a guy. They about to go crazy. So then I saw, okay, the Cowboys traded a 4th round pick for Jonathan Mingo. Yes, sir, Cowboys. I love it, man. Jerry Jones is the GOAT, man. Keep owning that team. Keep keeping them back. Keep holding them back. I love it, man. They traded a 4th round pick for Jonathan Mingo, who has caught 1 pass in the last 4 games. Remember, we played the Panthers just a few weeks ago. I forgot he was even on the team. Jerry Jones is definitely leading the Cowboys on just being the laughing stock of the NFL. Oh, I know. I'm just assuming ESPN, First Take, all of those top networks and shows called the Cowboys and said, hey man, we got to talk about the Cowboys consistently. We can't go a week without talking about the Cowboys. That's just the way TV works. That's the way sports radio and networks work right now. We revolve around the Cowboys no matter how sorry y'all are. But now we're starting to run out of things to talk about, especially with Dak Prescott hurt. So can y'all please go out there and make a stupid trade so everybody can, one, laugh at y'all, but on the other end, we have something to talk about, because you already know somehow somebody on one of those TV networks is going to flip it to be, oh, Jonathan Mingo, is there a chance that the Cowboys can survive with Cooper Rush? And now that they traded for Jonathan Mingo, maybe they can win some games and hold off until Dak Prescott gets back. And now he has an additional weapon for a playoff push and to potentially win the division. You know they're going to find a way to spin it. They just did this to give something to talk about. I'm assuming the NFL script writers, the Vegas people, called Jerry Jones and was like, I know you're tired of being the laughing stock of the NFL with a lot of the moves y'all been making, saying that you didn't want Derrick Henry. Now he's leading the NFL in rushing, but instead you picked up Dalvin Cook on his last leg and Ezekiel Elliott on his last leg as well. They combined together for maybe 1 leg right now, and it's just been move after move after move the Cowboys have made. So I'm sure the NFL and whoever's making these calls, who's calling the shot, script writers, whoever, is like, man, Cowboys, I know y'all are tired of being the laughing stock, but we just need this one more favor. Please make a fool of yourselves one more time, man. I mean, the Cowboys just traded a 4th round pick for a wide receiver 4 on a bad wide receiver team, mind you, where they're 3-5. And they just lost their starting quarterback for at least a minimum of 4 games, because now he's gone to the IR. We're going to talk about that soon as well. Shouts out to Josh Taylor, because he brings up a great point. Jerry Jones just traded for Jonathan Mingo for possibly the same price the Chiefs got for D-Hop, and that's if they go to the Super Bowl and D-Hop plays well. Otherwise, Jonathan Mingo for a 4th, they gave up more for Jonathan Mingo than the Chiefs gave up for D-Hop, and you just saw him ball out last night on Monday Night Football immediately, barely even knowing the playbook, so the sky's the limit there. And then just even D-Hop's past and how great he's been. Crazy. Also, more than what the Ravens got sent to the Panthers for Deontay Johnson, and that's a receiver from the same team as Jonathan Mingo. You can't convince me Jonathan Mingo is better than Deontay Johnson, and the Ravens gave up less for Deontay Johnson than the Cowboys gave up for Jonathan Mingo. I really wish I was there for the negotiations on that draft pick. How did they come to that conclusion? They also gave up more than the Lions gave up for Smith, and then also Mingo has never scored a touchdown in his career and only has gone over 50 reception yards in 3 games in the multiple years he's been in the NFL. That's insane. Also, shouts out to a Cowboys fan because he went on a rant. He said Chiefs got Hopkins for a 5th, Jets got Adams for a 4th, and Ravens got Johnson for a 5th, and we just got Jonathan Mingo for a 4th. This family has lost their entire minds. And remember, we got a 3rd for Jahan Dotson. People were questioning that a couple of months ago. Now, look, that looks like the best trade out of all of them. That's the biggest finesse out of all of them. That's even a bigger finesse than the Cowboys just got for Jonathan Mingo. We finesse Howie Roseman worse than any other trade, I believe, this entire season so far. But that's still incredible that Jonathan Mingo went for a 4th. But either way, shouts out to Master Tez. You already know, big time Cowboys fans over there. Anything Dallas, he's a big fan of and always working with all of the major networks over there. Shouts out to him. I rock with him. That's why I follow him. But he tweeted in pure anger and just disappointment for his Dallas Cowboys. And so that's why I'm giving y'all the point of view from Dallas Cowboys fans, because I just think it's even funnier and they're going to be as truthful as possible. Jerry Jones making dumb trades. Starting quarterback on IR. Starting pass rusher has more podcast episodes than sacks. Starting corner beefing with the local media. The backup running back isn't showing up to meetings, and the head coach is out to lunch. Year 2024 Dallas Cowboys, ladies and gentlemen. And again, that's coming from a Cowboys fan himself, and you know we enjoy Cowboys tears over here at StreetScores, man. And of course, now we got to talk about it. Dak Prescott is now headed to IR. Originally, it was assumed that the injury, maybe he would miss like a game or two, and then all of a sudden, this morning or yesterday morning, this morning they officially said, wait a minute, this injury is actually worse than we thought once we actually did like the real MRIs and stuff like that. And then now this morning he's officially headed to IR. And remember, we play the Dallas Cowboys in 3 weeks, which guarantees no Dak Prescott versus the Washington Commanders. It will be Cooper Rush, their backup quarterback. And honestly, like to keep it a thou out with y'all, it wouldn't have mattered either way, honestly, though. If Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush, we were going to whoop them anyways, but that just pretty much solidifies it that we'll probably be able to set our own starters by like the beginning of the 4th quarter type of game. But remember, Cooper Rush, last time we played him, did go 15 for 27, which isn't good, but he did have 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions in 2022, but we ain't worried about that. This is a completely different team right now. Offense way better, defense getting better. I'm not worried about that at all. And then shouts out to Dove Kleiman, because he set the Cowboys up. He tweeted a picture right here, as you can see on the screen right now, and asked, who's stopping this offense? And you know the replies on Twitter are going absolutely insane. You can go check out that tweet for yourself. We're not even going to dive into it, but it's just, you already know Dove Kleiman set them up. He tried to make it look so innocent, but he knew what he was doing. I'm surprised he didn't put a laughing emoji, because he knew what he was doing when he tweeted that. And then also, before we go in random news, the Raiders are hiring one of the NFL's most respected defensive minds, bringing in Norv Turner as an assistant to help guide their offense, per Mike Garafolo and Tom Pelissero. And the ex-head Raiders head coach is now back with the team, and his son, of course, Scott Turner, takes a more prominent role, so he'll step up and have more impact on what the Raiders are doing as well. So just to let you know, it's like 2 former Commanders coaches, and Norv Turner and his son Scott Turner. I just felt like that was interesting information and an update to give y'all, but it doesn't really matter as far as the trade deadline goes, to be completely honest. But you know, I'm Rico of StreetScores. I'm gonna try my best to give y'all as much information as possible. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content, man. I really appreciate y'all. Of course, again, I have y'all covered for every single thing going on with the Commanders, so make sure y'all pull up for any and all information, any and all rumors. Even if it's a rumor, we'll break it down. We'll address it as a rumor, though, where I'm not gonna sit here and clickbait y'all and act like rumors are things that are going to happen. We're gonna address the fact that it's a rumor, but we're gonna talk about everything Commanders. And of course, if we end up not even doing anything by 4 p.m. at the trade deadline, which at this point I kind of doubt, I think we'll at least make a trade for maybe like a Jonathan Jones for like a 6th round pick or something like that. But even if we don't, I will still keep y'all updated, and I have other videos in the refrigerator that I can't wait to get to y'all. I'll just have to wait, because I'm waiting to see what happens with this trade deadline. Then I'll get those videos to y'all maybe later on this evening, tonight, or maybe going into tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Of course, let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything discussed in this video, especially the Marshon Lattimore part of it, and also definitely how the Cowboys are self-destructing right now, and they're headed nowhere fast because of their cap space situation. It doesn't look like they're going to be good anytime soon with all of the top stars they have to pay, play. It's incredible, man. I love it. So let me know how you feel about all of that. Of course, make sure you do not leave this video without leaving a like. I'm gonna try my best to read and reply to as many comments as possible, but make sure you stiff arm that like button on the way out. I appreciate y'all. Catch y'all with another video very soon. I'm out.